Ready to step into a world where artistry meets footwear. You've got your sights set on becoming a bespoke footwear technician,
Yeah.
and we're diving deep into how to nail that interview using your RoleCatcher resources, of course.
We're talking custom-made shoes tailored to each client. It's a blend of traditional craftsmanship and modern techniques.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. First, we'll explore the core functions and industry trends.
Right.
Then we'll dive into those interview questions you've been prepping with on RoleCatcher, I hope.
It's all about showcasing your passion, your unique skills.
That's right.
Love it. Let's start with the heart of it. What does a bespoke footwear technician actually do?
Imagine this. You're in a small workshop, surrounded by the rich smell of leather, meticulously crafting a pair of shoes from start to finish. It's about taking a client's vision, their needs, their style, and translating that into a tangible piece of, well, wearable art. You're involved in the entire process, from the initial design to the final polish. Okay, so you're not just making shoes, you're creating an experience.
Yeah.
That must involve some serious client communication.
Absolutely, and that's something that often comes up in interviews. In fact, one of the questions in your role catcher prep materials is, how do you ensure your bespoke footwear designs meet the client's requirements?
That's a great example. It's not enough to just say, I'm a good listener.
Yeah.
What are they really looking for in a response?
They want to hear about your process. How do you approach those initial consultations? How do you gather measurements and get a sense of their style and needs? Do you use sketches, mood boards, or digital tools to communicate your design ideas? This is your chance to showcase your client-centric approach and your ability to translate their vision into reality.
So it's about showing you have a system, a structure, for ensuring client satisfaction. RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze job descriptions for keywords like client communication and design process to suggest ways to highlight those skills in your answers. Right.
Exactly. It's about tailoring your responses to each specific job description, and RoleCatcher can be incredibly helpful with that.
Now let's talk about the work environment itself. Is it all charming workshops? Or are there other settings where bespoke footwear technicians might find themselves?
While independent workshops are common, you might also find opportunities in boutique settings, collaborating with designers or even working with specialized retailers. And of course, many artisans eventually branch out on their own, building their own brands.
Speaking of building a brand, one question that often throws people off in interviews is, what inspired you to pursue a career as a bespoke footwear technician? It seems simple, but what's the best way to approach it?
This is where you share your story. What sparked your passion for this craft? Was it a fascination with shoe design since childhood? A life-changing pair of shoes you received? Maybe you stumbled upon a cobbler's workshop and were just mesmerized. Be genuine, be specific, and let your enthusiasm shine through.
And don't be afraid to get personal. Sharing a quick anecdote can make you more memorable. RoleCatcher actually has a feature where you can practice your answers and get feedback on things like pacing and tone, right?
It does. And that can be incredibly helpful for gauging how your passion and enthusiasm come across. It's like having a virtual coach, helping you refine your delivery.
Okay, so we've talked about the client experience and the inspiration behind pursuing this career path. But what about the actual skills involved? This is where things get really hands-on, right?
Right, absolutely. And that's something interviewers are keen to assess. In your RoleCatcher resources, you'll find a question about your experience with leather cutting and stitching. This is where you highlight those core technical skills.
So don't be shy about showcasing your expertise.
Exactly. Mention any specific techniques you've mastered, any training or certifications you've completed, even personal projects where you honed your skills.
And it's not just about the what, but the why. For example, if you were asked, can you describe your experience in using different types of leather and how you determine which leather to use for a particular design? How would you go beyond just listing different leather types?
That's a great question. You'll want to demonstrate a deep understanding of each material. For example, you might say, I often use full grain leather for its durability, especially for boots or sturdy shoes. But for a more delicate design, like women's dress shoes, I might opt for calfskin, known for its suppleness and fine grain. It's about connecting your knowledge of materials to their practical application in design.
So you're showcasing your ability to make informed decisions based on the specific needs of the project. It sounds like this career path really blends artistry with technical expertise.
It absolutely does. And that brings us to another common interview question. How do you stay up to date with the latest trends and techniques in bespoke footwear design and production?
The ever-evolving world of fashion and footwear. I bet they're looking for someone who's passionate about continuous learning.
Precisely. This is your opportunity to share how you stay ahead of the curve.
Do you attend industry events or workshops? Subscribe to trade publications. Experiment with new materials or techniques in your personal work.
Exactly. Sharing specific examples demonstrates your commitment to staying current and your genuine passion for the craft.
It's about showing them you're not just keeping up, but actively pushing the boundaries of what's possible in bespoke footwear.
And that's something that sets you apart as a candidate. It shows you're invested in your craft for the long haul.
We've covered a lot of ground, but there are still a few more interview questions in your RoleCatcher prep materials that we need to unpack. Before we dive into those, let's take a moment to reflect on the bigger picture. What are some of the most rewarding aspects of this career path? And what are some of the challenges that aspiring bespoke footwear technicians should be prepared for?
Those are great questions, and we'll delve into those aspects right after. Well, we'll get to that right away.
It's one thing to learn about a craft like this, but it's fascinating to hear about the real-life experiences of the people who do it every day. What are some of the most rewarding aspects of being a bespoke footwear technician?
It's incredibly rewarding to see the look on a client's face when you present them with a pair of shoes that fit them perfectly and reflect their unique style. It's a very personal and fulfilling experience.
I can imagine. It's not just a transaction, it's a collaboration that results in something truly special. But like any art form, I'm sure there are challenges too. What are some hurdles aspiring bespoke footwear technicians should be prepared for?
One of the biggest challenges is mastering the technical skills. It takes years of practice and dedication to become proficient in all aspects of the craft. Another hurdle is managing client expectations. Bespoke work is all about customization, but sometimes clients have requests that are technically difficult or even impossible to achieve.
So you need to be a skilled artisan and a diplomatic communicator. That reminds me of another interview question from the RoleCatcher materials. Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a problem with a bespoke footwear design? It seems like they're looking for someone who can think on their feet and find creative solutions.
Absolutely. They want to hear about your problem-solving process. Did a material behave unexpectedly? Did you have to adjust a design to accommodate a client's unique foot structure? Choose a specific example that showcases your ability to stay calm under pressure, think critically, and find innovative solutions.
It's about turning a potential disaster into a learning experience. Speaking of learning experiences, I'm curious about the business side of things. Many bespoke footwear technicians work independently or even start their own businesses. What advice would you give to someone who's interested in that entrepreneurial path?
Building a successful business takes more than just craftsmanship. You need to be savvy about marketing, managing finances, and building a strong brand identity.
That makes sense. And it highlights the importance of continuous learning, not just in terms of technical skills, but also in business management.
Precisely. And it reminds me of how RoleCatcher can help you identify those additional skills that might be valuable for your career growth. It's like having a personalized guide to navigate the business side of things.
It's like RoleCatcher saying, hey, you've got the footwear expertise down, but have you considered brushing up on your marketing skills?
Exactly. It can analyze job descriptions and highlight keywords related to business acumen, marketing, or even social media presence. Those insights can be incredibly valuable, especially for aspiring entrepreneurs.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, back to those interview questions. There's one in your RoleCatcher prep pack that always seems to trip people up. How do you ensure that your bespoke footwear designs are comfortable and functional, as well as aesthetically pleasing? It feels like a bit of a balancing act.
It's a balancing act that's at the heart of bespoke footwear. You're not just creating sculptures for the feet, you're creating something that needs to be worn and enjoyed.
So how do you recommend someone tackle this question in a way that reassures the interviewer?
This is your chance to geek out a bit about the technical aspects of comfort and fit. Talk about your understanding of foot anatomy, your process for creating custom lasts, your approach to arch support and cushioning.
It's about demonstrating that you're not just a designer, you're a bit of a footwear engineer.
That's a great way to put it. And don't be afraid to get specific. Do you use particular stitching techniques to enhance flexibility? Do you have a system for selecting linings that promote breathability? These details showcase your commitment to both form and function.
It's about showing that you understand the science behind the style. And speaking of staying organized and efficient, there's one final question from your RoleCatcher prep materials that we need to address. How do you manage your time and prioritize your workload when working on multiple bespoke footwear designs? Because let's be honest, things can get pretty hectic in a busy workshop.
Time management is essential in any creative field, but especially when you're dealing with custom projects and individual client needs.
So how do you suggest someone answer this question in a way that demonstrates their ability to handle the pressure?
It's about showcasing your organizational skills. Do you use a specific scheduling software? Do you break down projects into smaller, more manageable tasks?
It's about showing them that you're not going to get bogged down in chaos, even when juggling multiple deadlines and design iteration.
Exactly. And it's okay to acknowledge that unexpected challenges can arise. What's important is to demonstrate that you have systems in place to adapt and reprioritize when needed.
It's about showing that you can roll with the punches while still delivering exceptional results.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the nitty-gritty of leatherwork to the nuances of client communication. We've explored the challenges and rewards of this unique career path, and of course, delved into those all-important interview questions.
And we've highlighted how RoleCatcher can be an invaluable tool throughout the entire process, from crafting tailored resumes to practicing your interview skills. It's like having a personalized career coach in your pocket. But before we wrap things up, I wanted to circle back to something you mentioned earlier about industry trends. What are some of the exciting developments shaping the future of bespoke footwear?
That's a great question. And one, we'll get right to that.
We've talked about the artistry and the client relationships, but what's on the horizon for bespoke footwear? What trends are you most excited about?
Oh, the industry is always evolving, finding new ways to blend tradition with innovation. One exciting development is the use of 3D scanning and printing.
Oh, wow.
Imagine creating perfectly tailored lasts and even shoe components based on a client's precise foot measurements.
That's incredible. It seems like technology is opening up a whole new world of possibilities for customization and fit. Are there any other trends that you're seeing emerge?
Sustainability is becoming increasingly important. In the world of fashion and footwear, we're seeing a growing demand for ethically sourced leathers, uh, recycled materials, and even plant-based alternatives.
That's fascinating. It's like the bespoke footwear industry is mirroring that larger shift towards conscious consumption.
Absolutely. And for aspiring bespoke footwear technicians, it's important to be aware of these trends and to demonstrate a commitment to sustainability in their work.
That's a great point. It's not just about craftsmanship anymore, but about craftsmanship with a conscience. It makes me wonder, could RoleCatcher help highlight those values in a resume or cover letter?
Definitely. RoleCatcher can identify keywords related to sustainability, ethical sourcing, or eco-friendly practices in job descriptions. It can then suggest ways to weave those keywords into your application materials, showcasing your alignment with the company's values.
It's like RoleCatcher saying, hey, if those are values you're passionate about, here's how to make sure potential employers know that about you.
Exactly. It's about presenting yourself as a well-rounded candidate who's not only skilled, but also aligned with the evolving landscape of the industry.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the timeless craft of shoemaking to the future of footwear. It's clear that a career as a bespoke footwear technician requires passion, dedication, and a constant desire to learn and grow. What final piece of advice would you give to someone who's just starting out on this journey?
Never stop learning, never stop experimenting, and never underestimate the power of a well-crafted shoe to make someone feel truly confident and extraordinary.
Beautifully said. And to our listeners, remember that RoleCatcher is there to guide you every step of the way. From crafting the perfect resume to acing those interviews, its AI-powered tools can give you the edge you need to land your dream job in the world of bespoke footwear. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And until next time, keep those knowledge gears turning.